Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and we are back with more reactions for Titans. This time on to episode number 5 of season 3. So last time we kind of dealt pretty much picking straight up, picking up straight from the aftermath of Hank's rather unfortunate demise. And Dawn left. Dawn left right from the get-go. She kind of decided like her own peace of mind and her own kind of sanity. She couldn't really be around anymore. She's going to move to Paris, and in her own words, she was actually going to try and see what it was like living in the world without Dove, because without Port Deckard, I think she didn't really feel like there could be much of a Dove. And I think I've seen some theories as to like what she could be up to, or like how they could probably bring her back in the future, involving some other heroes that could exist in this universe. But I'm gonna kind of like for now, I think I might mention some of those in the review, but for now I'm just gonna kind of leave them as is, and if it does happen in the future, then we can discuss it then. But for now, she is gone. For now, she is going to take her own leave of absence and her own, actually taking her own time to grieve the death of Hank and everything. So Dawn left, and then Dick got word of how Red had actually ordered a hit on Crane in Arkham Asylum and everything, and then because of that, he was actually being moved to Blackgate, and he knew that was the way to actually get him into a more faraway place that the Titans couldn't really reach, or it would take them longer to reach and everything. So he knew that Red Hood would actually use that as an excuse to try and bust him out himself. So then Dick did busting him out, and then Red Hood was watching the whole way. So he busted Crane out and then took him to a secluded cabin in the woods where, funnily enough, the cabin was actually a training ground for any and all new Robins that Bruce decided to take under his wing. So he took Dick there, he took Jason there, and I think so far that's been it. Like no Damien, no Tim. We have not seen Tim at all so far. I think like besides from the very first episode, we haven't seen Tim at all. So I'm hoping in the future we do see. I mean, I can't imagine they kind of like they only really use him for the first episode. So I'm kind of guessing like somewhere down the line in the next couple of episodes he actually might make like a more prominent return. Maybe actually we'll see a lot more of him. So just waiting for that. But then yes, so any role that he takes under his wing, he takes him to the training ground, and I think based on what he did to Dick too, he kind of let Dick drop Dick off in the middle of the forest, and then Dick spent like God knows how long running away from a hungry wolf with nothing but a knife on him, like a big fat, I think it was like a Bowie knife, and then he eventually managed to kill the wolf, and then took the wolf's head, literally left the wolf's head back to Bruce and everything, and he kind of, like a training session in actually controlling your opponents and their fear and the darkness and all that kind of usual backcrap. So that story was retold, and then Crane kind of, managed to analyze Bruce from the outsider's perspective, and actually managed to, actually tell him like Bruce was a psychopath, and he raised you along in accordance with his own kind of like very very kind of greyish kind of moral code and his own kind of like crusty ideals and everything. So he rightfully analysed him as a psychopath with very very kind of questionable parenting techniques and everything. So that was the thing, and then at the very end we had Jason coming back in as Red Hood to try and get Crane back in, and then we had an awesome night with the Red Hood fight, so that was really cool. But then in the end, a sniper shot from GCPD did kind of let them both get away, and then Dick was with a bleeding shoulder, and I lost Crane and I lost Red Hood. So yeah, fun stuff on those fronts. So that was them, and then on the other hand, we had Gar trying to help Corey actually try and figure out exactly how, like try to actually hone in on her vision and actually try and figure out exactly what they meant and everything. And then he kind of suffered the worst. I mean, he got burned by her, then he got punched in the face by her, and locked in the trunk of the car, and then driven out to the middle of nowhere. And eventually, the nowhere was revealed to be the underground lab where Blackfire was being held by a secret U.S. government department and everything. So that happened, and Corey and Commander had, her name is Commander, so we now know that much too. Corey and Commander were had their own kind of little chat between sisters and everything, and talking about the past and traumas and hardships between them, and all kind of like rivalries and all that kind of stuff. So that was an interesting conversation. Then they fought, and then Corey decided to actually go back to her, to actually not leave her to suffer, or to leave her to do anything to have any more damage or to leave her to doing damage herself. So she busted her out, and then actually took her back too. So very interested to see where the Corey and Commander stuff goes from here, seeing how they actually evolve and seeing how like they're gonna further develop their kind of system and how like just seeing like exactly how much of an antagonist she might be, if that is really the route they're going, or if they're gonna make her some kind of like an anti-hero or some other kind of like just like a Titan's cohort or something. So it should be fun. So that is them. So yeah, that's pretty much. I think off the top of my head, that is pretty much all I can remember. So going forward, just some interesting stuff with Dick now having to recapture Crane and Red Hood, because now Crane is free. He's not a free man, but he's now back with Red Hood as Red Hood originally planned. So now he's there. And then so then Corey and Commander stuff. So yeah, fun stuff here. So yeah, that's all I've got. So on to episode number 5, the reaction. Episode 5, and as you guys all know by now, this one will just be the full length reaction. No, this one will be the fair use. This will be the fair use reaction with the highlights and the best bits. But if you want the full length version, that one will be over on Patreon. So you can go check that out over there. There will be links in the description and comments and whatnot. So that'll be fun too. But yeah, on to Titan Season 3, Episode 5. Let's go.
We immerse the good citizens of Gotham in a world of fear and terror where there is no one to protect
That's
them.
classic Scarecrow.
And when
That's
they feel that
classic
all hope has
Scarecrow.
been exhausted, we swoop in and be the answer to them.
Yeah, staging, pretend to be the heroes.
And you feed a starving dog.
Oh, and he's still feeding him He's still feeding him that same gas. He's still feeding him the same. So it's like he's giving him a constant supply. He's keeping him supplied. Oh god. Oh, I think that's a Scarecrow mask. Oh boy. Oh, Red Hood. Oh. So he's having nightmares about his own future? Donna! Oh god, she's not even properly back. Oh, she looks so good. Even dead, she looks amazing.
I'd like you to see an old friend of mine, Dr. Leslie Tompkins.
You're sending me to a shrink? Because I have fucking dreams?
She's more than simply a psychologist. She knows everything about me. She understands the work we do.
I've done my time with shrinks.
So a shrink that knows about vigilantes and heroes.
No more Robin until you see her. If Leslie agrees with you, you can go back to being Robin. But until I hear the word from her, you're shut down.
So he wants to put on psych eval to make sure he's actually good.
I know that look.
What look?
Is that his stubborn look?
The one that used to get me in trouble.
Yeah, the stubborn look. Yeah, Jason willing to do anything, go anywhere.
Do I know you?
I'm fuck.
Fuck and off, yeah.
You have no idea who I am.
He works for Batman.
Jay, let's get out of here.
Oh, he's on.
Where's your swag, cowboy?
Oh, good. Oh, the Deathstroke PTSD. That's coming back in. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Jason, come on. Jason, come on.
Stop it! Stop it!
I'll see you around.
God damn it. That could have gone a lot better. So the PTSD prevents him from actually being able to react on time and fighting back at all? That's just... God, that's horrifying.
My mother was a smack addict and it killed her. My dad was murdered by Two-Face.
Oh,
I had
damn.
3 years of foster care bullshit and I probably fucked up, okay?
He wasn't the Scarecrow when I knew him.
So his past.
He was actually a brilliant graduate student here.
They always are qualified scientists before they're
He had real
crazy
insight.
scientists.
He was my friend. Till he tried to kill me.
It's...
Crane's specialty was terrorizing his victims with their worst fear. What's yours?
Being stuck in this room with you for the rest of my life, talking about my shit.
Might even tell you a story about Superman.
No, she's even worked with Clark. Would Superman need it? I mean, I kind of feel like Superman might need a therapist because of what he takes on. He's He's OP, which means he takes on much more higher power threats. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Harvey Dent's coin. I think that's Ra's al Ghul's sword. That has to be a League sword, yeah. I think Catwoman? Catwoman's goggles? Yeah, oh, Catwoman's whip, the whip and the goggles, yeah. And that might be the fear toxin. Yeah. So he just has like a collection of his thingies and the Scarecrow's mask too. He just has a collection of all of his enemies' kind of items and stuff.
Leslie told you about her encounter?
She tell you that?
No. What goes on in your sessions is between you and her.
That's good. Patient of the confidentiality.
She's kind of hot. Did you two ever?
I have got a conference call with Metropolis tonight. Luther's up to something. Can you handle dinner?
Yeah.
Sexy
Lower
boy
in.
Luther. Did they have a Lena in this? If they had a Lena Luther in this, I would
Spilled off the bike.
die.
I know it wasn't easy. I'm proud of you, son.
Oh. Call him son.
Son?
Wow.
Yeah.
Too soon or too late? So a smile. There's a smile. There's a smile. I see that. I see that smile. Yeah, just on time.
The Ducati's gassed up. If this new girl likes cats, run.
Yeah, Bruce has had some experience with cats in the past. Yeah, he has a very interesting experience with cats.
Mother.
Fucker. Sorry, my bad.
Mother.
No, they're doing word association, right?
Gone.
Father.
Bruce.
San Francisco.
Rose.
Friend.
Molly.
Robin?
Freedom.
Robin is freedom.
Bruce puts a lot of pressure on you.
It's not his fault I keep fucking it up. If he thinks I'm scared,
And what?
Stop him from being Robin.
I'm tired of being afraid. Freaking out all the time, the nightmares, the handshaking, all of it. Once he loses faith in somebody, he takes it all away.
Okay. Say he stops you from being Robin. You just get to be you, Jason Todd.
Jason Todd lived on the streets and he had dumpsters. My life isn't shit without Robin.
Robin is the living embodiment of that man's projection, and that's what you're afraid of not being?
Of not having a purpose. Not being given a purpose by Bruce.
But he said you had to sign off on me going back.
Bruce is not my patient. What do you want?
To feel better.
Then let's keep talking. Next week, same time?
Yeah, sure.
I love that this is actually kind of working for him.
Thanks.
Thank yourself.
I love that this is actually kind of helping him.
This is where your parents died.
I was gonna say, like, last time he was in an alleyway, things didn't really end too well, but this is exactly the place.
This city does things to us. We can take the worst parts of ourselves and put them in control. I've lost too many people to Gotham. I won't lose you.
Oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna...
I don't want you to be Robin.
Oh, he's taking it away from him.
I did exactly what you asked me to do. I went to Leslie. I talked to her. She's helping me out. Please don't take this away from me.
You don't need to wear a costume to be my son.
You think I'm weak. You always thought I was weak. You never did this to Dick.
I've learned from my mistakes.
Oh, so I'm a fucking mistake now? You gave Dick everything. And no matter what he does, you keep on giving him more and more. What's so bad about me?
Please, just hear what I'm saying. This is not your fault.
Please don't give up on me, Bruce.
I never will.
You made a fear gas, right? That means you can make something to get rid of fear.
Well, I admire your logic, recto
So he
verso.
came up with the reverse engineering.
Even if I could, what on earth makes you think I would share with a C-list imposter?
Oh, he's got the original.
Because I'm special.
He brought the original with him.
A collector's item
The OG
from a very
Fear Box.
specific collector.
Yeah, he knows now. Now he knows. Oh, God.
But the question is, I always imagine imagined you'd have wings.
You disappointed?
No, to the contrary. What is our young Robin looking for?
No, he's piecing together.
I want to reverse engineer your fear gas.
I want Robin to fly me out of here on his wings. The same way Batman brought me
He
in
wants
on
Robin
his.
to bust him out.
There's a perverse poetry.
You hear noises? You mind your business.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, with that amount of money, sure.
Don't burn it down, all right, Playboy?
Yeah, yeah, those kind of noises. What kind of noises would he be making though? Like, is he gonna test it on himself and end up like screaming in pain or something? How safe is any of this stuff until you get to the final product? How safe is any of these trials? Oh, that's the orangey one. That's the one that I think finally works. Oh. Okay, I take that back. It doesn't work. It does not work at all. Is this the one? This is the one. Yeah, nice glowy Merlin eyes. Yeah, those are the ones. That's the one.
Take that chemistry set, get yourself an RV, and you can have your very own television show. We need to test our concoction on Batman's most fearsome enemy.
Joker. Testing on Joker 3 days later. This is us.
I fucking got you.
So tested actually works and it actually does push him to actually be fearless. But it doesn't necessarily work.
I'm not afraid of him.
Yeah, not anymore because he's got an anti. He's got the anti-fear toxin.
Joker killed Robin. Now shut the fuck up, psycho!
Oh Jesus! Oh, this wow! I almost regret. I pretty much regret asking how bad his injuries were now. Oh wait! Oh, Lazarus pit. Is this a Lazarus pit? That's got to be a Lazarus pit. That has got to be a Lazarus pit. There's a Lazarus pit under GCPD, or like somewhere under it.
You're okay. You're safe.
Oh my God! He was brought back to life with the Lazarus pit. So is it going to have the same thing where his soul was taken away? Because I mean that's how it's usually worked in like the Arrowverse and everything. But I don't know if that's actually canon to how the Lazarus pit itself works. It would be interesting if they actually did explore that in the show, because it would be much darker here. Much darker here.
You know, you really should be thanking Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
He left a tiny puddle of mysticism that even your friend Bruce Wayne didn't know about.
Yeah, Lazarus
Oh, he's
pit that
dead.
even Bruce didn't know about.
Well, you think I brought you back just so I could kill you?
No, now he's Scarecrow's approaching
I'll make
it.
it
Now
better.
he's Scarecrow's in the
Trust
apprentice.
your doctor.
So what's it gonna give him now? He's died and he's
But
come
all
back. So what's it gonna? Did he still come back with the same anxieties? The PTSD? I mean, I guess he actually died this time, so he'd have like a whole new set of PTSDs. Including watching Scarecrow dancing. That is horrifying in itself. Oh boy! Oh
No fear.
boy! Oh god! Oh, he's suited
New
up.
mask, new name, new you. Gotham doesn't understand justice. It only understands terror.
Oh,
be
the
their man
birth
now.
of the Red Hood. Oh.
Stand tall, Red Hood. Show them what they are.
Oh, damn, it looks so good. It looks so good.
Where's Diego?
Oh, now he's going straight back after that guy again. He's going after that guy again. But this time he's much better armed. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. This is very Joker-like. This in itself is very Joker-like.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
Okay? Who are you?
He's the Red Hood.
I'll just tell them myself.
Oh, well, that's badass. That's kind of badass.
Diego?
Oh, Diego.
Don't be scared.
He brought Diego back. Oh, he saved Diego.
Okay.
Oh.
I would never hurt you, Molly.
Jason?
Oh, she
Not really.
knows.
Not anymore. The city owes us a lot, and I'm gonna collect the bill.
I don't know what you're doing.
See, now this has anti-hero
You need
vibes.
help.
This has strong anti-hero
You
vibes.
still trying to save me? It's gonna get worse before it gets better, okay?
Oh, well, that's some great piece. I would say that's a great piece of foreshadowing, but it really is. It is a really great piece of foreshadowing. Good God, that was okay. That was good. Oh, so yeah, that was good. That was pretty damn good. A very appropriately and very kind of aptly like in terms of like where in the season it is, it feels like a pretty aptly placed kind of aptly placed Jason-centric episode 2. Like this one was Jason-centric in all the in what I feel like was all the right ways, and it definitely kind of gave us that kind of backstory to him becoming Leonard that we so badly needed, and in ways that really made sense too. So yeah, and I guess that this really probably works best for the adaptation too, because again, like there's stuff that they can easily change from what the original kind of development was like, or maybe just like adapt in various ways, or like in inspired ways instead. So with this one, I feel like it definitely kind of works best with this adaptation, and I think it definitely works. I think it definitely feels right because it feels better because of that. Because again, not everyone who watches the series will not everyone who watches this kind of stuff, this version of the story, will be fully aware of or know every intricate detail about how the original kind of development in the comics went down, and how his death and his rebirth actually went down in the comics. I think the people who were maybe starting off with the show, or maybe even sticking to the show for whatever reason, it feels like a really well written actual development and actual kind of place in like a tie-in to actually show us like exactly where and how Jason was before the Red Hood stuff went down at the very beginning of the season. So it feels really well written on that part. And Karen Walters too, he is just fantastic. Like Karen Walters, I think in this episode alone, he really brings out this side of Jason that we haven't really seen before. Because like so far, I think all of season 2 and season 1, I think we understandably got a lot more of Jason in season 2, because then that was when they really started to explore like how he was going to be Robin and what kind of path he was going to go down. And then I think like that was also when they kind of wanted to tease Reddit stuff and everything. So then I think because of that, like we saw like him like a lot of his introductory stuff, and also that's it, like about half of his season 2 stuff was to do with him kind of being seen externally as that kind of sarcastic and cocky kind of little like kind of teen Robin, and him just kind of being like a cocky sidekick, and he just doesn't really take shit from anyone. Then he also dishes it out freely. But then with this one, I think this one definitely utilized a bit more of the whole kind of PTSD he has from Deathstroke too, like especially in real time, and then before his death and everything, and like actually showing how exactly what he's going through. So so I think we had a flashback dating back 3 months ago, so like across I think 3 months ago, but maybe across the course of a month or across the course of 3 months perhaps. We started off with Jason having bad dreams, and he had been having bad dreams for a while. Like Bruce literally kind of was sat on his bedside, and he was detecting Jason having yet another bad dream. And then his latest one, I think that they must all kind of be fairly similar. But his latest one did involve him walking through the halls and the rooms of Wayne Manor in the Robin suit without the mask, and being haunted by voices and visions and all sorts of kind of jumps and flashes and everything. And then the surprise face that popped up, dude, Donna comes in out of nowhere. Donna Troy, she comes in out of nowhere, even dead. She looks just fantastic. She just looks ethereal, even dead. She came in, and I think she told Jason like don't go, or don't let go, or something like not yet. So even in his dreams, she's there and she's warning him and she's advising him and stuff. So she popped in for just like a few seconds, and it was enough to just knocked me away. But Donna showed up. So I, just reminded me how badly I need to actually, get to the episode where she actually does make like a full-on return, and we actually get some more kind of Donna-centric stuff that fully vindicates her, her very, very unjustified and very poorly treated kind of death in season 2. So yeah, I'm gonna try and avoid bringing that up from now on, just kind of move past it. But still, it's still. Seeing Donna there was pretty good. So she's kind of there, I think, and he's aware of her too. He did actually whisper her name a couple of times too, so he was actually aware of her being in the dream and everything. So he must be he's been having those kind of bad dreams, and it got Bruce worried. It really got Bruce worried. So yeah, Bruce. I think Bruce went down Bruce went down a path. I'm not entirely surprised he went down. He wanted a full-on psych evaluation for Jason. For Jason as Jason, to make sure that he was then fit to go on as Robin and everything. And Jason, I think Jason kind of felt somewhat like not necessarily like he definitely kind of felt shameful and shame and ashamed of being thought of by Bruce as being like mentally kind of like unwell or unfit or kind of challenged from being Robin and from all the kind of traumas he's faced as being Robin. So he like the exploration of that kind of stuff in this episode has been just wow, like it hit me. I mean, especially like that anyway scene. Like I was just on the verge of tears. Like that scene alone just had me just breaking up. But I think what really works well in this is actually like the analysis of mental health when it comes to in stories like these, when it comes to characters like these, and especially like these are human characters, these are very human people, and stuff. So I think with Bruce, I think he is not just known for being Batman, but he's also known for what for what he makes Batman out to be. Like not just a guy who fights crime and strikes fear into the hearts of his enemies, but canonically, Batman is a guy who has trained himself to be capable of absolutely anything that he needs to be capable of. He's pushed himself to the peak, both mentally and physically. So in order to be able to successfully do that, he's also kind of made himself like that much more kind of immune to any kind of or as immune as he can get to any kind of any actual mental, emotional or psychological kind of stress and everything. Especially, I think it actually brings back to Barbara's kind of story about how at Alfred's funeral, it was only actually her and Dick who were actually crying and breaking down and being emotional, but then he was reserved and cold and stoic, and he was just kind of like processing in his own way, sure, but he was still kind of externally just kind of emotionless and unresponsive and everything. So with Bruce, he's trained himself to be like that, and I think he, like with him, there's that kind of super complex ongoing kind of internal conflict of like who he is and how he is and who he is and who he's meant to be. But he made it clear in this episode that he does not want that to happen to people that he cares about, and least of all his Robins, and he doesn't want to happen to Jason. He's like Jason is the youngest Robin. I think, well, no, actually, no, probably not the youngest, because he did recruit Dick fairly young, and I think maybe somewhat younger than Jason did. I think it's considered he actually recruited Dick. He took Dick in fairly younger than Jason. So, but yeah, so that happened. But then I think with Dick too, like I think that was like a fairly different situation too. Like he was never he never really faced the kind of tragedies in his life. He still lost his parents, so no doubt about that. He still lost his parents, and he still lost them to gang crime. But then with him, I think he still he never really kind of had that kind of risk of coming from like a dodgy history or coming from like a dodgy background. And even if Bruce hadn't taken him in, he still would have been with Clay, so he still had the opportunity to actually still live like a relatively kind of easy life and like a safe life and everything. But with Jason, he's had the most traumatic history. Like his mother was a smack addict and she died from addiction, and his father was killed by Two-Face. His father was killed by Harvey Dent after he actually became Two-Face, and so he got the dark side of the coin, and then probably a bullet to the face or chest or something. So his father was killed by Two-Face. I think I do remember in season 1 when he actually kind of was explaining his backstory to Dick in bits and pieces. He did mention how he did live with his uncle for a while, but then even his uncle was like a really dodgy and like neglectful dude. So then as soon as he was I think he was in and out of the system mostly, but then as soon as he was of age too, he just kind of he actually lived on the streets for like a larger kind of portion of his life. So he lived on the streets and stuff and things like that. So he's like Jason is not the kind of kid who's had the kind of easiest or most kind of comfortable or safest kind of histories or backgrounds, and then I think it's because he wasn't even recruited because of any kind of physical any kind of combat skills. Like he didn't actually showcase any skills that Vigilante would have. He was literally caught by a Batman stealing the hubcaps, trying to steal the hubcaps off the Batmobile, and then Bruce was like, yeah, this one, he's got potential. I want him. So then he took Jason in and trained him to be the next Robin. So Jason wasn't even looking to fight. I think he definitely didn't really think. I think he did face brutality from the cops too. He didn't mention it in there, so that he actually did get like the shit kicked out of him by the cops in Gotham every night. So he did face brutality from the cops. I think deep down he would have had a lot of anger and a lot of vengeance towards the world from what he's lost and what he's been through. But I think not once did he ever really kind of consider being inspired by Batman or putting on a mask and going out fighting people or even doing any of that stuff. So then the same thing that Bruce did to Dick, he then did to Jason too. But then with Jason, he had like a lot more. He was a lot more alone. He had he had no one left to him. He felt like he had no purpose, and he just had no kind of nothing to leave behind, and nothing to really fall back on or fall into. So then when Bruce took him in, that was when his world changed forever. Like someone actually wanted him, someone actually took him in, someone took him under their wing and actually trained him, and then decided to actually be like a kind of parental figure to him. So then that changed everything for him. And then when that person turns out to be the freaking Batman, it's like that adds like layers and layers of different kind of complex kind of issues and different kind of layers of drama and all sorts of different things to that kind of context. So when that came out, I think it's definitely I think it's easy to see where things could have gone wrong if they were destined to. It's easy to see where things could have gone wrong if they were destined to. So I think him kind of wanting the sidekick out for Jason too made a lot of sense too. He wanted, I think he definitely wanted, I think at the very least he wanted to make sure that Jason was okay from an actual professional kind of doctor before actually doing anything else with him. And I think he did it to the point where he was like, okay, Robin is on shutdown mode until we get to go ahead from Dr. Leslie Tompkins. Until he got to go ahead from her, Robin was actually on standby mode, and he wasn't allowed to suit up as Robin anymore or do anything kind of remotely Robin-like. So that happened. So that was that. And then I think the idea of superheroes actually getting therapy too. That's just I am actually pretty sure there's actually on a relatively related topic. I think there's actually a channel on YouTube. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's College Humor. I don't know if it's College Humor. I think it might be that or it might be something else. But there's actually a channel on YouTube that does a series where superheroes actually do get therapy. It's like a comedy series with a kind of adultish kind of twist on it. It deals with relationships and somewhat adult kind of themes and content. It's meant to be a more comedic and more mature twist on adult life on superhero life, and it's actually superheroes in therapy too. Some have been couples therapy, some have been solo therapy and things. But I can't remember. I think it might be College. It might be because they do a lot of weird and wacky shit all the time with all sorts of pop culture things. So it could be them. But I think if not, I think it's another channel. I think it's a channel with that as a series. I can't remember exactly what it is, but that one, I think that one is the only other example I've seen in any kind of media of superheroes getting therapy, and even that one is meant to be that one's meant to be a parody. It's meant to be a parody, not to be taken seriously at all. So this episode alone is in among other shows, this episode alone is actually the closest I feel like we've come to actually getting a more authentic and more kind of somewhat legitimate interpretation of what a superhero or even a costume vigilante alone getting therapy would be like. So and I think just superhero getting therapy is just a very, very interesting kind of topic to actually come across too. So we meet Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who is a very, very special and capable psychologist under the kind of in connection with Bruce, and she knows everything. She knows Bruce is Batman. She knows that Dick was Robin and is now Nightwing, and she knows that Jason is now the new Robin too. So she knows all of it, and she's completely she's cool with it, and she even actually offers her own services and her own aid in actually providing mental health kind of assistance and everything. So that's really cool. And I think like, as a character too, she did a really great job in this episode. Like I think again, I think the kind of I think the way that therapy is in itself is actually explored in the media is like I think I feel like it's a relatively touchy subject too because even in real life therapy like in itself is a great issue. I mean, it works really differently for everyone involved, and for some people it's not like a helpful or viable option at all, and for others like even for those who it is like like different methods work for different people, different kind of paces and techniques work for different people too. So seeing it like I think seeing it even in like non-comic book, non-superhero shows, like actual non-fiction shows, seeing it interpreted there, I think it's like it's an interesting thing to see how it's actually translated and how they actually try and pull it off. If they actually try and pull it off in a way that like everyone gets along, or if they do it in a way where like there's some trouble to begin with, but then everyone involved actually manages to ease into it and stuff. Because then I think like either way they do it, it's like the like an objective to actually kind of do it in a way that actually does reflect accurately enough onto the audience too. So I think with this one, I think with this one they do like a really nice enough balance of actual kind of like regular human health kind of issues actually combined with Jason and his issues being Robin and his issues having the desperate PTSD and everything. So I think it's a really well balanced thing, and the Doctor character herself actually did a great job actually connecting with him all the time and introducing him to this whole thing, and actually using him into it, and actually like not treating him like a kid or not treating him not patronizing him in any way either. Actually just like letting him see this however he wanted to see it before he was actually comfortable in doing this properly and actually doing this in a way that would work and everything. And I think especially like props stuff actually being able to handle superhero cases too, because then that can't be easy either. And she even mentioned Superman too. She even said like she had some stories about Superman, so even Superman gets fucking therapy too. Like Superman again, his worst enemy is a human. His worst enemy is Lex Luthor, but then still he faces like some really like equally extraterrestrial kind of like threats and also the problems. I think I can only imagine what kind of I say I can only imagine what kind of issues he's facing, but then like at the end of the day, like no matter what he goes through, I think that like it will still be able to be kind of like simplified down, for lack of a better term, it's just simplified down to stuff like anxiety or depression or like whatever he might have and everything. So I think again, it's just meant to be a nod, but again, like my mind, I just can't help but think, oh, like what kind of super stories would you have? Like I think would it even be actual therapy stuff, or would it just be like her actually randomly having Superman as a contact and he just kind of tells her stories and does these things? But then again, the idea of Superman having therapy too is also like an equally intriguing kind of concept as well. So yeah, but she is like a pretty much like a therapist for superheroes and for people in that kind of connected circle and in that world and everything. So she's an extremely helpful person. And Jason is her new patient. Jason was her new patient. So yeah, and she knew Crane too. She actually knew Crane she actually knew Crane back when he was like a respected and notable kind of qualified kind of scientist and everything. And especially like with Crane, I think even the way she described Crane too, like back when she knew Crane, he was just Crane. He wasn't Scarecrow. He wasn't like a mad scientist. He was just like a regular qualified scientist. And it's like that's like when it comes to mad scientists, that's always how they start. They're always qualified geniuses and and respected and well acknowledged kind of people and everything. And then one bad day in the lab, and then boom, everything goes to shit, and then everything goes to shit, and they start kind of tearing down the city, and they start doing whatever and stuff. So even like she knew him back when he was back when he seemed like a sane person, and then apparently he must have been working with his doctor stuff in the lab or somewhere like within like the building they worked in, because then she stumbled upon his fear toxin, and then to him that seemed like a betrayal, so then he punished her or retaliated rather by submitting her to his fear toxin, so that he used it on her. I think whether or not it was like a final draft or like an early draft or whatever, we don't know. But I think it wasn't. I think it was still enough that it like whichever version it was still good enough to actually be what we recognize as the actual kind of original and actual proper working kind of theatre. Because then even when she described it, it's like it's like as close as you can get to hell without actually being dead, like while still being alive. It's like like it forces you to relive your worst fears, your worst kind of nightmares over and over again, and until it wears off and everything. So whichever version you use for her, it works, and it's the one that people recognize. So she has a very complicated history with Jonathan Crane. So yeah, and then we meet Molly too. We met Molly, who was a friend of Jason's, and I think an old friend from when he was living on the streets, like someone like she herself was still kind of actually working to help the people who used to be living there and help the people kind of like from similar backgrounds and struggles as them. So she was an old friend of his, and yeah, and then she was making missing posters for kids who not only went missing but then also wouldn't meet the criteria that the GCPD would need to actually give a shit about the citizens of their city. So she was making missing posters and actually trying to raise awareness and trying to get like anyone who would listen to listen. So she was an old friend of his, and they got along. I think based on the conversations they had, they even briefly dated and stuff, and maybe actually moved on from each other before everything else happened. So that was fun. So I think now they are pretty much just kind of at the stage of being like old friends and stuff like that. So that was cool. So yeah, so then he kind of offered to help her with like the case of Diego, the missing boy Diego, and even actually helping him find the guy that Joker had on his own payroll, actually getting like random people off the street actually, or even like actual homeless people and people living on the street actually volunteer themselves to actually join up with the Joker and make them smile and everything, so all that kind of creepy stuff. And I fully expected Jason to actually have some kind of control over that situation. I was expecting what I was expecting was that Jason would not only have control over the situation, but that he'd actually go too far with the guy. And I thought he would actually he would either fight back or catch the guy off guard himself. And actually, but then I thought he would actually be him being Jason, and we've seen him being really overly violent before. So I figured, he actually might be overly violent this time, and he might scare Molly and be like, and she might end up running off or something. But then, no, it didn't happen. Like he got up into the guy's face, all intimidating like, and then he ended up getting a gun under his chin, and he couldn't fight back, and then and being on the verge of death once again brought back those own brought back the PTSD from Deathstroke kind of beating the crap out of him and actually almost getting him to dropping off that skyscraper, and it just brought back that PTSD, and it caught him completely off guard, and then the guy caught him completely off guard, and then I think what surprised me even more was the fact that he got caught off guard and then he got beaten down. That was like, okay, that's happened. But then the fact that he couldn't even get back up and he just kept on taking hits, and then his PTSD and the anxiety that comes from that cripples him so much that he just can't fight back at all. He kind of like feels that he has no choice he can't fight back, and then he's left with no choice but to actually be on the ground, taken in, just kind of giving those guys that kind of near false sense of power, like maybe because like the guy didn't even know he was Robin. The guy had no idea he was Robin or that he was going to Batman. He just thought he was like some other kind of kid who thought he was all that and decided to pick a fight on the wrong day or something. So yeah, but then seeing Jason like that too, just unable to fight back, and seeing him so like crippled by his own kind of anxieties and his own fears, and like those visions coming back into his head too, just kind of seemed horrifying too. Like actually, like seeing that's what goes on in his mind too. So then he really just can't even. To be fair, we didn't see him actually taking on any missions as Robin before the bad dreams happened. I think the bad dreams then are like the first indicator to Bruce that things are not really that okay, and he needs to be checked out and everything. So I think at this point then he really just can't actually go into the field as Robin until this kind of fear goes away. So yeah. So then that didn't really go well at all. And yeah, I mean, speaking more on the kind of therapy between Dr. Tompkins and Jason, yeah, once we got to the sessions where Jason actually started to get more comfortable and opening up, and she actually got through to him, and he actually started to actually converse properly with her, then we find out exactly like more of what's affecting him, more of how he feels, and that scene too is just as hard hitting, and it's just as like that is when Jason is actually being emotionally raw and honest and vulnerable, and he's actually trusting Tompkins, and he's actually, you know, being open with her and everything, and like when he's pouring that stuff out, that's when you know it's actually real. So then he is afraid, and he wants to actually stop being afraid. I think that line alone, when you tear the superhero-ness and like the actual kind of comic book kind of context away from that line alone, like the fact that he specifically says, you know, like I want to not be afraid, I want to stop being afraid, that kind of thing. You know, I think that is a line that's all too relatable for a lot of people out there. So it's a line that's all too relatable in many different ways too. So I think the way that they kind of tackle that dialogue in that scene, with or without the Batman and Robin, so like with or without it, is actually like a lot of the dialogue can be relatable for a lot of different people. So I think like the way they kind of portrayed that scene was just flawless from start to finish. It was actually like really kind of heavy and really kind of well thought out and well planned and well executed by the writers themselves, and even both of the actors in that scene. So him talking about that, Jason kind of actually displaying himself like that, actually showcasing himself to be like an actual vulnerable human being, is something that is very well needed, and very like appropriately placed and very appropriately kind of displayed and stuff. So and even him personally, like, even within the context of Batman and Robin and the comic book stuff, and even like within the context of him being Robin, it's like he's not just afraid. He doesn't just want to not be afraid. It's like, you know, he wants to be afraid. He wants to not be afraid in multiple different ways. He wants to not be afraid as himself, and he wants to actually kind of take that PTSD and those anxieties away. But then he's also even more afraid because of the fact that this fear and the way that it sets him back and the way that it actually kind of debilitates him in that way. He's afraid that might kind of end up with it might end up with Bruce actually taking Robin away from him, because then if Bruce sees him that way, and if Bruce sees him as someone who's being held back by all these different things, then he might actually take Robin away from it. And Jason has essentially been raised in he's been raised in a world of hurt and pain for so long that Robin is the one good thing he's ever had in his entire life. It was given to him by Bruce. It was given to him by Bruce, and the fact that the fact that that can be taken away because of like any kind of failures or shortcomings that have stuck around in his mind in the past, the fact that the idea that can be taken away alone. And I think he knows, like Bruce could easily take that away. So he's Batman, he's Bruce Wayne. He could easily stop him from being Batman. He could easily take away the suit and take away everything from him. So he's afraid of that all the more too. But then he's afraid of the fear at his core that stops him from being able to actually perform the way he wants to, and he's afraid of actually, you know, even the way that Tompkins analyzes him too, the fact that he's afraid of Robin, because he thinks that Robin is all that there is to him. He thinks that Robin is the one good thing about him, and then the one thing that gives him purpose in life. But then he also, I think deep down, what he doesn't want to have to accept is that he also is afraid of Jason not being enough, or he's also afraid of actually not being able to. He's afraid of not being able to properly be Jason, because he doesn't know who Jason is without Robin. So he's afraid of actually not being able to have a Jason as well as a Robin too. So I think just the way that stuff is explored again, just really well done. Just really well done, and I think it really kind of adds a depth to Jason that we just haven't. It feels like it definitely feels like it adds a depth to Jason that we've been waiting for all this time too. I think it's like a depth that they never. I think it's a depth that they tried to do in season 2. Maybe I feel like it's a depth that they tried to do in season 2, but then the best that they ended up doing was actually hinting at what it could mean. Because then he was even brought to the Titans, but then he wasn't really, you know, he was barely even like a solo team player with Batman and Robin. But then going to the Titans too, actually going up against all these other people, going with the OGs and even like the newcomers, like he just kind of struggled to actually find a place that actually probably fit in, and he wasn't really kind of, you know, pretty much every other teammate he had, barring Dick, like everyone of them had powers of some kind, so he was still kind of, you know, he was almost killed by Rachel's powers too. So he definitely didn't kind of feel like he fit in there, and then even then the initial kind of the initial entry being the fact that, you know, Bruce literally told Dick, you know, there's potential, but then there's some rough edges that need sanding down. So then, even like I think deep down, even if he didn't hear that, Jason still knew that Bruce handed him off down to Dick so that he could actually just kind of be his own personal project and could train him and finish him off, or like soften the edges a bit or something, or roughen the edges or whatever. So he still knew from then that he still wasn't really like a true father team. He was just like a loan in from Bruce, and he was just there to actually become better in Dick's and Bruce's eyes too. So he has never in his entire life had the chance to properly be Jason in a way that's actually mattered to him, in a way that's actually felt healthy or safe. So then him being Robin, to him being Robin is what being Jason is. So that he doesn't really know how to separate or flesh out those two identities individually, and like then the Doctor definitely then had an actual good point. The point that he needs to actually focus on is actually figuring out who Jason Todd is first and foremost, and then that way, at least one of his fears will actually be eased off that much smoother. So yeah, like that kind of stuff, like that kind of analysis was really good. So it really it just really adds a depth to Jason that it feels like we've been waiting for a long time. So yeah. But then, yeah, that's exactly what happens. His worst fear is exactly what comes true, and doesn't even need to. He doesn't even need to. He doesn't even need to take fear toxin. He doesn't even need to take fear toxin for that fear, for that nightmare to come true. Bruce takes him back to the back of an alley, straight after that therapist appointment. Straight after that appointment with Dr. Tompkins, he takes him to the back alley of the theatre, and I think I was wondering when it happened, if it was actually meant to be that alley, or if it was just meant to be like some kind of like similar alley that had the same kind of vibes. But then no, Jason actually did point out that it was actually Crime Alley too. It was actually definitely where Bruce's parents were gunned down when he was a kid, and Bruce kind of then that scene too. I think that scene was the one that literally kind of took me down. I think especially like that scene taking place after. I think again fits really well. That time when it actually takes place directly after Jason lays out his fears and his worries and his anxieties straight up to Dr. Tompkins, like he's exactly what he's afraid of and exactly what he doesn't want to happen, exactly what he wants to prevent from happening by taking away fear and everything. And then Bruce kind of talks about it. I think Bruce's analysis there, like in that one scene alone, actually semi matches what Crane what Crane described in the last episode. I mean, with Crane's one, he was kind of more kind of analyzing exactly how harmful Bruce was and how harmful Bruce was to his own kids too. But with this one, Bruce is actually actively analyzing exactly how the city itself changes and how Gotham itself is like a poison to everyone in it, and how it kind of changes you and destroys you and everything. So him accurately describing how he himself has had to kind of adapt and force himself to adapt, and then even for him it's been unhealthy, and he really doesn't want to see the same thing actually happen to Jason and to his son. He calls him his son like 2 or 3 times in this episode, and he really kind of tries to drive home the fact that he is his son, and he doesn't really see himself as Jason's father too, so he really doesn't want to actually lose him in that way either. But yeah, so then he made I think more than anything, even if I think more than anything, I think he insists that he didn't talk to Tompkins. He came to this of his own accord and of his own decision making capability. So he insists it's his own call, but he then does actually decide that he would much rather kind of keep him around as like a temporarily unhappy Jason, or at least in his eyes, he would rather keep him around as like a temporarily unhappy Jason, like a temporary disappointed Jason, rather than lose him as a permanently dead Robin because of what the city does to both the heroes and the villains, it exemplifies the villains, but then it completely degrades the heroes. Anyone who tries to fight back at the poison within Gotham City is degraded. They're pushed down, they're torn down, they're constantly kind of under the weight of all these pressures and under the weight of all the hardships that the criminality of Gotham puts them through, and then the criminals are actually given that boost up through all these different factors that range from corruption to lack of resistance and power and fear and all these different kinds of things. Bruce knows deep down the city is not not only is this city not for the faint of heart, it's just not like a city, like, if you're not willing to put the work in, which very few people are, then it's also not a city that you might think is worth saving. And for Bruce, it's his home, so he's, like it's pretty much the only reason he's stuck around as long as he has. But he has lost almost everyone to the city now, at this point going forward, all he really has are his kids. It's, Dick and Jason, and soon to be Tim, are all he has. I mean, the league is now established in this universe, like in this universe at least, like the league is now by this point very well established. So I do have to wonder if Damien exists out there somewhere. Like I mean, Talia has to exist, and then if she also does exist, then like Damien, like if he's still out there, if he's been born. I mean, Bruce is like a fairly old man, so I would be highly surprised if Damien didn't exist in some capacity. But and I think Damian Wayne also like his existence would also tie into like one of the more common fan theories I've heard about what Dawn might be up to in Paris and wherever else she goes. So just like putting that out there. But yeah, I think I can't help but wonder if Damian actually does exist out there, and if he's maybe if he's still with the league. I think he was I think with Damien, like the story is that he was actually raised and trained by the league from birth too, because he was the son of Talia as well. So she actually made it like made sure that he would be trained by the league, so he could be still undergoing some training there. But yeah, no, but back to the point. So like Bruce going forward, all he has is really his kids and his kind of young family, like everyone else he knew, like Alfred and Gordon, Egon, Barbara hates his guts at this point pretty much. He just kind of doesn't really see him as someone worth keeping around or someone really worth trusting anymore. So he's like losing people left, right, and center in various different ways. So then he kind of knows that like that's exactly what the city does to you. Like it turns you into something that you don't like to see in the mirror, and then it forces you to lose lose the people around you, either to you or to the enemies that you make and the threats you face. So Bruce himself, like at this point, as much as you want to call him psychopathic, and even how Dr. Tompkins actually referenced that he had like a borderline like personality disorder or something, he had that kind of condition. As much as he has those issues, he's still deep down he still kind of understands that it is the city that does this to you. But then I think in Bruce's case too, I think because of Bruce being Bruce, I think it's also the fact that with Bruce, he's adamant enough to still keep going even if it does affect him. So he does it under the guise of pushing forward and being kind of determined and under the guise of perseverance. But then deep down, I think part of him still knows that it's also like a very valid argument that he has also let this happen to him, and he hasn't really stopped it from actually affecting him, but he just kind of pushes through anyway because he believes that that's what he needs to do. So with Bruce, I think it's a pretty fairly different situation too. So yeah, but then he does opt to actually take away the thing, and I think that's when Jason himself actually breaks down too. And I think even Jason's kind of line about him comparing himself to Dick too, Jason's line about comparing himself to Dick and how he got everything, Bruce gave Dick everything and he listened and he gave him what he wanted, and he gave him the freedom that he wanted, and he gave him all the toys and everything, and he did everything for Dick, Dick his first ever son that he adopted, and he took him, he raised him and trained him, and he gave him everything. But then with Jason, he feels like he's being treated differently and lesser than, and he's already being given the same trust or level of faith. But that whole scene just wow. So then after all of this, Jason goes down the route that I think we all saw coming based on the past few episodes too, and he instead opts to visit the old friend of Bruce's and Batman's, Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum. So he goes to visit him, and he has a very interesting talk with him. And then he cuts a deal. He cuts a deal that if he hypothesizes that he hypothesizes that if Crane's specialty is creating fear toxin that actually brings out your fears, then he can surely also create a reverse engineered kind of toxin that actually takes away your fears and allows you to push through and really persevere, even artificially and even chemically too, like chemical perseverance pretty much, and stuff. So he kind of hypothesizes that, and then Crane obviously doesn't say he can't fully do it, but then he also does say if I'm going to do this for you, then you're going to do stuff for me too. I think that whole kind kind of few second scene of like deduction of him actually putting together the fact that this kid who just showed up at his door like knows about who he is, and then Batman's process and everything, and he actually puts two together and actually figures out that Jason is in fact the newest Robin. Very much intrigues him. I think he kind of figures out that that is exactly the kind of connection he needs to actually do what he wants to do and do what he needs to do and everything. So that's that. But then he eventually does give him the formula. I think he even actually makes it clear that he wants the poetic kind of beauty of Batman having brought him in on his wings, but then Robin taking him out and doing it on his wings. He wants like the protege, the sidekick, the son of Batman, to actually be the one to actually break him out, and then and for that to be the official story. Feel like Batman brought him in years ago, and now his own protege breaks him out and actually switches sides too. So yeah. So then but then from then on we see the breakdown of how he actually gets the formula from Crane and how he buys out the loft in Gotham too, and he just gets all the necessary kind of science equipment, the beakers, the tubes, the pipes and valves and all the stuff he needs, and he gets the kind of like I think different kind of formulas and different drafts of formula from Crane on how to actually do it, and it's very much trial and error process of like something like I think the first one didn't work at all. Then I think the second one still only kind of worked, and I think the next one made him puke, and then the fourth one finally, I think like the key there is the actual eyes glowing, and then the pupils actually dilating and everything. So that one was the final draft that actually worked. So that was something that worked. So then we see how he's using that one, and he actually kind of reports back to the Scarecrow, and then Scarecrow is the one who I think Scarecrow is then the one who actually has the idea to actually test it on the classic enemy of Batman 2. He has the idea to actually test it to make sure it actually works, and he actually even said, I think he was even the one who suggested being like like Jason being Robin, he tested it on the classic enemy of Batman to see if it actually fully works. Now I think deep down, based on the smirk he had when he heard that Robin died, I think he kind of like knew like that would be a really poetic ending for him to like be the actual kind of ally of the actual ally and sidekick of Batman actually going up against the arch nemesis himself, and not surviving would be inevitable. But then like that story alone would be kind of would be timeless, and it would be actually kind of like spoken through the city for days to come and everything. So he knew that would be the one that would make for a good story, like Robin himself actually going up against Joker, likely unprepared and everything, and still kind of ending up badly. So he knew that would happen, so he suggested Joker, and then we see exactly how like the serum, the toxin works through it. It definitely kind of like does kind of like alleviate his stresses and his fears and everything, and actually pushes him towards the edge, and it gives him the kind of surge of confidence he needs. And I think one thing I'm wondering, right, is like when he actually does finally get to that kind of like that location, and then in the end he sees the Joker. I think one thing I'm wondering is like because the fear toxins themselves do still have like an actual expiry thing, so like it actually does wear off after hours. I think granted he did take it right before he left, but then I'm still wondering like maybe but then in between like taking from the time actually taken, and then the time taken to actually from the time he took it, and then the time taken to actually get to that place and walk in and do all that exploring. I think I'm wondering maybe if maybe even by the time it happened, it was maybe a mixture of being caught off guard by the Joker, but then also maybe the actual toxin itself wearing off and not being at full strength that kind of got to him too. So maybe that's what actually got him killed. So like if it was maybe working at full strength, then maybe just maybe he might still fight a chance. But then if not, then maybe he's still kind of like caught off guard by not immediately finding the Joker and actually being surprised by all these other things, and then finally the Joker coming out of nowhere with like a crowbar and doing his thing and everything. So that still happened. He still got killed by the Joker. And then we see then the full story of the guy from the morgue who had been paid off to actually help resurrect Jason. I kind of asked how bad his injuries were, because again I was kind of I won't lie, I was kind of good to see exactly how bad the injuries could have been and how bad they were and then stuff. But then his body, to be fair, he was on his back, so I think he was actually lying on his back too. So I think any bruises and injuries on his body would have actually been hidden by the fact that he was flying on his back, but then his face too, like, oh god, his face, it wasn't, with Titans, like I think they are known for having that kind of thing. Yeah, I think maybe less so this season, but I think they are still known for having that kind of thing where sometimes they use like a darker filter than necessary. So I think for that reason, I don't know if I actually caught everything the first time, but I think I caught enough to know that like half his face, like kind of like Two-Face, half his face was literally bashed in. There was bone missing and skull and skin and bone and fragments of his skull missing, and like his skull had essentially been bashed in and everything too. So nowhere near like Negan levels. Like with Negan, he just doesn't leave anything behind. So like nowhere near that level, but still it was like enough to actually show, okay, yeah, this dude, the kid definitely died. So Jason definitely kind of went through that too. He went through full on death. Like this time, he was nearly killed by Deathstroke. Who was a professional assassin. Deathstroke was a professional assassin, and then the Joker is just like a crazy psychopath. So he just kills you in any way possible, in any way necessary. So with him, like Deathstroke can easily be quick and painless and like merciful. He can easily be that way, but the Joker, he is easily the kind of person to actually revel in the torture and chaos and pain of his victims. So he took his time with the crowbar to actually going at it hit by hit, and Jason would feel each and every hit. So that death would unarguably be like a lot less kind of tolerable for him than being killed by Deathstroke. Like just quickly kind of falling to his death and being instantly kind of turned to mush and everything. But with this one, he just had his head, his face bashed in and stuff. So yeah, but then that was the order, and then so they have a Lazarus pit. The basement of or whatever of the GCP has a Lazarus pit, a very small one, mind you, a very small one. I think even Crane later called it a puddle of mysticism, like a puddle of magic and Lazarus water. But they have a Lazarus pit under the GCPD, so I think it's one that even Bruce doesn't know about. It's one that even Bruce doesn't know about that Razak all left behind or planted or whatever. So even he doesn't know about it. So like there's a Lazarus pit under the GCPD. So yeah, I think going even further and further to actually really plant the Razak and League of Assassins kind of seeds for any kind of like potential kind of uprisal in the next season. And I think as I'm recording this, I am now. I think it's actually been confirmed that Titans is coming back for season 4. So I really kind of feel fairly strongly that season 4 could be about somehow bringing in Ra's al Ghul, or even actually kind of further developing him, or further kind of referencing that world and stuff. So I am very curious to see what season 4 could be about. But I have to actually finish season 3 first. So that is definitely still in the works. But yeah, they name dropped him, and they've even said where he is. He's in Kadeem. So he's busy off in Kadeem, not in Nanda Parbat, if they have that here. But they also now have a Lazarus pit too. They have a Lazarus pit under DCP, and the guy dumped Jason body in that, and the water kind of converged on him and rebuilt him and everything. So yeah, he was brought back to life by a Lazarus pit. He was brought back to life. I think yes. I mean as with almost any DC TV viewer, the ways in which I am kind of familiar with the Lazarus pit and the way it works is through the Arrowverse usage. Like it uses an arrow to resurrect certain characters and then to resurrect people overall. So that's the one property which I'm actually familiar with it and stuff. So but with that one, I don't know if it's like a twist that they added, or if it's actually kind of how like Lazarus pit actually works. So I think like the way that they've done it in the Arrowverse is when the person is brought back, they're brought back without their soul. So their soul essentially has to be found or restored through like the same magic that Constantine uses, and actually going to wherever their kind of purgatory is, and actually finding their soul there and everything. So I was wondering like would they do that with this? Because I feel like maybe like even like for the path that we see him going down in the beginning of this season as Red Hood, I feel like that would also be like an equally kind of interesting addition to like the fact that it's not just him being really edgy or anti-heroy or even just like randomly being against Titans, but it's also because he actually lost his soul when he actually came back from like when he actually came back to life too. So he actually lost his soul. He then lost any kind of affection towards the Titans, and he lost any kind of even the slightest happy memories he might have had with him, even the slightest of remotely positive memories he might have had with him, he lost those also. So then he was left with nothing but hatred and disdain and vengeance all the time. So then that's why he wanted them to suffer, and that's why he wanted them to actually die and everything. So I feel like it wouldn't be the sole reason, but then I think it would be like an interesting kind of additional factor as to why he is the way he is too. So he lost his soul, but then his soullessness is then amplified by the pain and anger and hatred he has in his heart for everyone and everything that's ever wronged him and stuff. So yeah, but he was brought back to the Lazarus pit, and Crane was the first one to meet him. So yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think in this way we do literally see Crane building Jason. I think, as he said, he to him that is exactly what he saw to Jason. Came to him like a broken Robin. He came to him a broken Robin with a Robin with a broken wing, broken by the bat, and his kind of his giveth and his taketh away of the Robin mantle, and his kind of gadgets and his kind of heroism and his opportunities and everything. So he literally saw Jason coming to him as a broken Robin, so then he offered him a way out and gave him what he wanted, and he actually built him back up again. So we see that actually happening here. We see the rise and the birth of the Red Hood. He's brought back, and he is forced to watch Crane dancing for God knows how long. That sight alone must be traumatizing to see when you come back from the dead for the first time. So that's just a whole thing. But then he is then rebirthed as Red Hood. He's given a suit, and he's suited up, and he's given the hood and the mask and everything. Again, Red Hood in this episode alone, had much bigger anti-hero vibes than anything we've seen of him from the previous 3 or 4 episodes. This episode alone had so much more anti-hero vibes from Red Hood than anything else we've seen. And stuff. And he suited up and he went after Hawkins. The guy who initially beat him down the first time, and he gave him the fight of his life, which I loved. He gave him the very flashy fight of his life, and he gave him the beat down of his life, and then he killed him. I think I even actually kind of like that line, I want your friend. I want you to go and tell your friends who I am. And he's like, oh, who are you? And he's like, boom. You know what? Forget it. I'll just tell them myself. I will meet all your friends myself, and I'll let them know and make sure that they know who I am right before they die too. So that those scenes alone has major anti-hero vibes, and he actually manages to find his way back into Molly's apartment, and he actually finds Diego, he finds the kid, and he actually brings him back safe and sound, and he even assures him that Molly is good people, and they can help him. So yeah, and that scene with Molly too, I think that one had a mixture of I think with that one being the prequel, to what to the Red Hood we see in episode 2 that takes down the criminals and offers them protection and everything. That one, his dialogue in that one makes some sense too. Him being it's gonna him saying he's different now, and he's actually like a new Jason with a new kind of same mission, but same ideals, but a new mission and a new Jason, a new mask and a new mentor and everything. And even Molly actually knows that he's Jason, and she's still trying to save him and everything. So that kind of dialogue was really well done. And that scene was really well done as a whole. And then even his line of it's gonna get worse, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better. So he himself knows that he's about to do some really shady stuff, and he's gonna draw some attention. He's gonna actually do some things in the future. I do wonder if that means that he kind of he went forward knowing he'd have to kill people that he once worked with. If he knew that he would then go forward kind of ending up on odd ends and odd sides with the Titans and everything. If he knew that he would be fighting Nightwing, and if he knew he'd be killing one of the members of the Titans, or if he knew he'd be killing Hawk specifically, or what would happen. But I don't know. So far, it just shows that he was broken, then he was literally broken down, and then he was actually built back up again by Crane to be this kind of force of kind of anti kind of heroic justice and everything. And he was actually forced to do all these things to the Titans and everything. So he was put through a lot more by Crane as well. So it doesn't really get much easier for him. I mean, I am kind of because of that, I am kind of anticipating. I am anticipating the point where he actually walks away from Crane too. He keeps the Red Hood mantle because he feels like that's who he is now. He's not Robin. He never wanted to be. He is now Jason is now the Red Hood. So to him, even if it takes him even longer to find out who Jason really is deep inside too, he now knows that Jason is no longer Robin. He is now Red Hood. He is now separated fully from the Batman and everything. But I think it's also to do with a mixture of whoever it was that actually ended up coming out of the Lazarus pit, combined with exactly the person that Crane wanted that he ended up building inside of Robin too. So inside of Jason too. So yeah, it's just some crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. But yeah, damn, again, a heavy episode. A heavy episode. Very Jason-centric, very, very well executed and Jason-centric, and very good way to bring in more characters that he's been involved with and more people he's been involved with before and after becoming Red Hood and everything, actually kind of showing a really great kind of story leading up to his kind of rebirth as Red Hood and showing exactly like who he is and how he's become this kind of character and everything. So yeah, and if anything, yeah, I think I am happy to say that this has encouraged me to actually check out the Red Hood comics and the Red Hood origins even more, and to actually check out what the canon material and the original story is actually like, and how different it is, and how different that kind of story is, and how different the character is, and everything. So soon enough, I will be checking those comics out too. But yeah, this seems fun. This definitely kind of seems to fit in well with the story as like a kind of prequelish kind of episode so far. So I guess technically you might need to watch this before you watch the first episode. I think either way, it still works like an actual prequel kind of halfway through the season 2. So definitely works. But yeah, I just love like seeing Jason as a whole. Like Jason has always been like, I think from the beginning Jason has always kind of been that character that's been really interesting and really kind of like he's been a character with some obvious kind of darkness and obvious kind of deep rooted kind of darkness and kind of traumas to him that you really want to explore and see exactly how much they affect him and how much they've actually changed him and how much they made him the person he is. So seeing that explored in this episode so fluently and so like thoroughly is just really, really great to see. So yeah, and again, Karen Walters just hats off to Karen Walters, hats off to Karen Walters, hats off to everyone else who was involved in making this episode what it was, all of his co-stars and everything. So hats off to all of them. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have as of right now. That's all that I think. That's all the bases I can think of that have been covered. All the bases I can think of. So yeah, can't wait to see where the story goes from here, and like how different of the did we get from going on from here. I think from the very beginning we saw that Jason and Crane were still in the woods, and Jason was terrified that like he didn't really have a plan. He was still going to then be fed the same fish and everything. So now Dave came forward with a plan, and then Dick needs to do the same thing. So yeah, it should be fun. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from this one. So that was Titans Season 3, Episode number 5. So thank you guys, as always, for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like fun. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on DC's Titans. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available on over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So,